Hey, what's going on, people? It's D Davis here once again with Sports Talk and Bull stuff. Mr. 360 back. I want to touch on something that I've been seeing that's been going on TV and everything, on social media. And it has something to do with sports, but this is more bull stuff for this little rant. But apparently Christians are upset with the Olympics and I guess the opening ceremonies and everything that transpired there. Uh, transpired there. Yeah. My question is, what y'all upset for, Christians? That's what Christianity is. That's do the Christians not know about Saturnalia, which is the Roman festival that happens December 25th to January 6th or something like that? It's around that time they say JC was born, if you believe that type of stuff. I happen not to, but I want to talk about Christians and their upsetness, their anger, their deep passion because of the blasphemous rendition of the Last Supper. Well, I'm not of the thought that JC ever existed, and if he did exist, he was hanging around early Christians of that day. Then what they doing in Paris ain't that different from what they was doing in the Byzantine Empire during what was that, Roman Greek hold of that part of the world. That's what they was doing, right? What you upset for? That's Saturnalia, festivals and orgies and all sorts of detestable behavior, debaucherous behavior. That's the heart of Christianity. You know why it's the heart of Christianity? Because JC loves all and forgives all. So you ain't gotta be righteous for JC to love you. You just gotta exist, I guess. Or worship JC. That's all you gotta do. JC gonna love you. But if you know anything about the Bible, so I hate to say the Bible because the Bible, that's biblios, that just means book. But if you want to be specific about the Old Testament and the New Testament, it appears to me that was too much glare. It appears to me that the New Testament goes completely against what is said in the Old Testament. If I remember correctly, Exodus 20 is no idols. No idols. Even if they supposedly was doing miracles and walking on water, turning water into wine. No idols. So all this putting man on the cross, all the stuff that we seen in those church buildings or cathedrals, cathos, if you know a little something, it's idolatry. That's what the Christians practice, though. Idolatry. Now, I could be wrong in this, and I think in Jeremiah, the book of Jeremiah, they talk about chopping down trees. What the Gentiles or the people who conquered biblical Israel, the practices of those people, they would chop down trees and put trinkets upon them. That's what they do in the New Testament. If one I'm thinking that the people who conquered Israel, or the Israelites, or the Hebrews, the people from Eber, from Shem, Hebrews, those people, I think the people who conquered, if you look at Psalms 83, it's a bunch of nations in Psalms 83. A bunch of nations. But I think those nations that conspired against Israel, I think they wrote the New Testament. It's a lot of perversion within the New Testament. A lot of perversion within the Christian Catholic Church. A lot of perversion. You go on Google and Google image the snake. It's like a snake god they got at the Vatican. I was reading something about the Olympics. I guess in ancient Greece, they worship Dionysus. Something like that. Then I remember, it was about 20 years ago, 18, 17 years ago. It was a long time ago. I watched this documentary, homeboy I was working with. Slid me that Zeitgeist documentary. Watched it, and he was talking about JC, and he was talking about JC being the, I guess, the amalgamation of a bunch of ancient pagan deities. And he's just the representation of all that in one. Because the people who conquered biblical Israel, or the Hebrews, or the Bible, from Eber, from Shem, one of the three sons of Noah, the people in Psalms 83, those nations, they rewrote. No, they didn't rewrite. Well, they. So a lot of the books, most specifically Revelations, is just like a mix-up and a remix and a plagiarization of the four major prophets: Daniel, Jeremiah, Isaiah, Ezekiel. Those end-time prophecies are kind of mixed in and plagiarized, and they put their spin on it. Then you got all these people that was never with Jesus. I hate to say the name. Never with JC. Dumb people had no parts in those books. There was no Mark. There was no Matthew. There was no Luke. There was no John that was rolling with JC. If he was real. I don't think so. They didn't write none of them books. It was people that came years after, according to the story. Because the New Testament, or the publication of the Bible, was like late 1500s, early 1600s. That was a King James production. Yes, a King James production. And the book of the Hebrews, the history of the Hebrews, that was called the Tanakh. That's your Old Testament. And Malachi 3:6, it says the Most High's laws never change. But we got JC now changing laws, saying you ain't got to be righteous. You can do whatever you want to do. Sin as much as you want to sin. Give your ends to the church. He'll forgive you. Man with the little hat, he'll forgive you. Or if you ain't got access to one of them people, just know JC died for your sins. Even though the Old Testament, the Torah, the Tanakh, clearly says it doesn't work that way. But I don't understand why the Christians are mad at what happened at the Olympics. Because when you look into the book of Maccabees, they set up gymnasiums all over. And they did debaucherous things in those gymnasiums in Jerusalem. What y'all mad for? This is what y'all. These are the practices of the Christians, Greeks, Romans, the pagans, the idolaters. These are those same practices. Don't be mad, Christians. Just do a little history. Do a little research. These are the Olympic Games. These are what the conquerors of biblical Israel, these are what they did. And what did the Romans follow up with? The same. That's where you get the phrase bread and circus. Spectacles. Things to distract the people from what really needs to be thought upon and focused on. What's really going on? And here we have it. Me wasting almost 11 minutes to talk about what Christians should just know. Just accept it. This is your culture. Debaucherous acts. And if any Christians don't like what I just said or what I'm saying, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. And I surely will make a response. It's almost time for me to clock in the plantation. That's what I'm about to do. If you don't like anything that I said, feel free to kiss my